Welcome back, guys. It is
everybody.
day 4. Day 4. And what is a day at the theme park without some good laughs? Are you ready?
Love to laugh.
Let's start this day with some bird jokes that will quack you up. All right, Miss Donna. What do birds eat for breakfast?
Worms?
Shredded tweet.
Ah.
All right. What do you call a rooster that crows every morning?
I'm not sure.
An alarm clock. All right. And what does a bird eat with its soup? Oh, come on.
Maybe some bread?
How about some quackers?
Oh, quackers.
All right. And then I think one of my favorites. You ready? What's black and white, black and white, black and white, black and white?
Zebra?
A penguin falling down the stairs. All right, seriously.
Oh, Misty. Miss Misty always has a good joke.
I love the jokes. Seriously though, folks, today is Design Day, and we're going to take a closer look at God's handiwork as we study birds and their incredible design. But let's start with our Incredibles.
It may be difficult for people to live in such extreme places, like extreme hot or extreme cold, but God especially equipped some animals for life in freezing temperatures.
Who loves popsicles? I know I like a good
Me.
popsicle. You know, a popsicle reminds me of wood frogs. Let's see how. You know why? God made wood frogs so they'd freeze in the winter, like a frogsicle. Up with the jokes today. And they still live when they are completely frozen. They freeze in the cold and then thaw out when it gets warmer and go about their business.
Wow. That reminds me too of polar bears. We try to stay warm with coats, hats, mittens, scarves, you name it. But God gave polar bears a built-in coat called fur. But God didn't stop there. He took it one step further and gave them not just one layer of fur, but 2 to handle the extra cold. They also have a 3-inch layer of fat under their skin, which helps. And polar bears have black skin, which takes in more heat than light skin would. God thought of everything to keep them toasty warm in the freezing cold.
Wow, I never would have guessed that polar bears had black skin.
I know, isn't that
That's
interesting?
crazy. That reminds me of the Arctic tern. The Arctic tern is a bird that flies back and forth between the North and the South Pole. It not only lives in extreme weather, but it also is an extreme flyer that doesn't get lost. This animal migrates farther than any other animal. It flies about 50,000. 50,000. Did you hear that? Not
Wow.
50. 50,000 miles a year. Now that is a frequent flyer.
That's right.
God programmed it so it knows to leave the North Pole and fly south when the harshest winter months are coming. Then after it makes it to the South Pole, it leaves to go back to the North Pole. But how does it know when to go back home? Does it have a map or a GPS? Nope.
Not.
It knows just because God programmed it to be that way. And how does it know when to go? Once again, it just knows because God programmed it that way.
All right, boys and girls, just like our picture of Fenwick yesterday, now you're seeing our picture of Turner. Turner, the Arctic tern, can remind you of what you'll be learning today at VBS. Animals couldn't have just happened. God made them that way, and their incredible design should cause us to praise our Creator. Whoa, let's go to the amazement park. Incredible World Amazement Park, where there are thrills by day and a fireworks display after dark. Incredible World Amazement Park. Oh, you don't need directions because it's everywhere. Just step outside your door and look, you're already there. A world that's filled with things that fly and spin and jump and run, all in 3D. It couldn't be more fun. Woo! Whoa, let's go to the amazement park. Incredible World Amazement Park, where there are thrills by day and a fireworks display after dark. Incredible World Amazement Park. Let's talk about the builder and all that he designed. From sea to mountaintop, he built it all in record time. He formed the heavens, every animal and waterfall. The great creator, come on, give it up for God, y'all! Yeah! Woo! Ride the cheetah, chase and raptor run, they're super, super fast. Hop on the crazy kangaroo, you're gonna have a blast. Be sure to see the dolphin dance and penguins on parade. Then give the Lord the glory for the wonders that He's made. Put your hands up in the air, yeah. It's time to take that ride. Put your hands up in the air, woo. And let the Lord be glorified. Put your hands up in the air, yeah. It's time to take that ride. Put your hands up in the air, woo. And let the Lord be glorified. Whoa, let's go to the amazement park. Incredible World Amazement Park, where there are thrills by day and a fireworks display after dark. Incredible World Amazement Park. Whoa, let's go to the amazement park. Incredible World Amazement Park, where there are thrills by day and a fireworks display after dark. Incredible World Amazement Park. Yeah, let's go!
Good to see you today, park riders. I wonder how many of you have ever been to an animal show at a theme park, like a bird show or the dolphin show at the aquarium. Has anyone ever seen one? Today, we're going to have loads of fun as we learn about an incredible group of animals. And if I said they could fly, would you guess which animals they are? Bird? That's right. It's all about the birds today. And did you know that the Bible mentions many birds by name? What are some of the birds you found on your Bible challenge?
I wonder if they found robins,
Sparrows,
turkeys,
eagles,
chicken,
duck. Duck?
I'm very hungry.
God's Word can teach us a lot about birds.
The Bible tells us that lots of different kinds of birds were created by God. Let's see. The first one is animals didn't just happen. God created them.
Right.
So, if God designed the animals special, do you think they'll have special features about them?
And each bird was created with special features to do exactly what God created them to do.
Okay, and it's really important to remember as we talk about this that there's so many different kinds of birds and all the animals are made by God, not evolution.
No.
They didn't turn from dinosaurs into birds. They were specially made by God, just the way they are, for their special purpose.
That's right. And also, the Bible tells us that birds were named by the first man, Adam. Now, Adam, he was not, sometimes you see cavemen and they're grunting and they can't talk. Adam was not like that. God created him very intelligent, and he gave him the job of naming all the animals.
That sounds hard. There's a lot of birds out there.
There are a lot of birds. That's a lot of birds to name. And that means, too, before the fall, when sin entered the world, Adam actually had work to do. So work came before sin. So that means work
sometimes now, after the fall, work's not very enjoyable. You don't really like to do your school or your chores.
No.
But before the fall, Adam loved the job that God gave him to do.
I bet he came in with flamingo. I love those. And in Genesis, it says animals were given to man for food after the flood. So before the flood, everybody was a vegetarian. What's a vegetarian, Megan?
And someone who does not eat meat.
Oh, that's horrible. Well, I couldn't eat my chicken then.
No.
But after the big flood that Noah helped out God with, God said that man could eat meat, especially chicken. Birds. Especially chicken.
And turkey at Thanksgiving.
Oh, turkey. Duck à la roche.
Now, the Bible tells us that birds and everything in creation belong to God. That also means that every person created, including you, belong to God. He is the creator, and he is the one who gives us the rules, and our job is to obey the creator's rules, which he gives us in the Bible.
The Bible also tells us that God cares for the birds. He doesn't just leave his creation alone. He gives the birds food and shelter. And Jesus in Matthew 6:26, he tells us that God feeds the birds. So while you think that he wouldn't take care of us, because he takes care of the birds, so you got to trust him to take care of you, just like he takes care of the birds.
And the Bible says that we are of much more value than the birds. So if we see God taking care of the birds, that's even more reason to trust that he will also take care of us.
I love God. All right, well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn about all the special beaks that God made for all the birds. Every beak has a special job. So we're going to start setting up an experiment. Are you ready? We're going to do 6 experiments.
All right, the first bird we're going to talk about is the stork. Now, storks eat fish. And we have some fish right here, and we have different tools that we're going to see which would be the best tool to use to eat these fish.
Do they swallow them whole?
Wow. I would get choked if I did that. But all right, the first thing I'm going to try to use is an envelope and see if I can pick these up. Well, I got them up, but
How are you going to swallow it now?
yeah,
I don't know if that's the best one.
I don't think that would work very well. Do you want to try the spoon?
All right. Okay, let's see the spoon. If this would get those fish.
We got them all on there, but that's a lot of fish to swallow whole at one time.
Okay, well, I choked.
Now these are some skewers. Let's see. Stab this fish right here. Look at that.
Ah,
I've got one perfect fish to swallow whole.
Wow. Well, I think the
Right.
pelican has a beak that's a bit like a skewer.
The stork does, yes.
I mean,
and he uses it to stab the fish and swallow them whole.
Great. All right, let's look at our second beak.
All right, our next experiment is about the pelican. Now, pelicans will scoop down and get fish out of the water. So let's see which instrument we have here is best to do that.
Let's try some tweezers. Maybe I can get them that way. Oh,
No fish.
That didn't work.
All right, how about a straw? Okay, that will work.
Hope you're thirsty.
That would take a lot of drinking to get to the fish.
You don't have a strainer in your mouth.
No, I don't.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be able to drink a whole lake this way.
Let's try a strainer. That looks yummy. I'm going to eat you. Oh, I caught
Look,
it.
you caught one and there's no water in
No
there.
water, so I can just eat it like that.
And that's how God made the pelican's beak. It scoops up the water and fish with its beak, and then the water strains out, just leaving the fish, which, just like the stork, the pelican also swallows whole. And that couldn't just happen. God made them that way.
He did.
And you've probably seen this bird in your own backyard at home. Blue jays. Blue jays eat worm and insects, just kind of like these gummy worms right here. And so we're going to see what kind of beak they need.
What do they eat?
Worms?
Oh.
I wouldn't recommend trying that at home.
Bugs and worms all in the ground. So
Yes.
They got to peck around, I guess, a little.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try the strainer first since that worked last time.
Right.
So let's see.
But there's no butter.
Yeah,
I don't know if this one works great for
this
a
isn't
land
working
creature.
very well. Nope. Do you want to try the pliers?
Okay, let me try those pliers. Well, these worms won't crack. This is not working.
No.
All right.
How about these tweezers? Let's see. Look at that.
Oh, the blue jay definitely got
That worm. The blue jay has a beak like a tweezer, so it can pick around on the ground and find those little bugs and worms, and that couldn't just happen. God made them that way.
Yummy.
Well, these are gummy worms, so. All right, this next bird is one of my favorites, the hummingbird. And you've probably seen those around too. They fly so super fast and they're so tiny and cute. Okay, and they drink nectar, which we're using this water to represent. So, do you want to try to use the envelope to get the water out?
I have a feeling this is not going to work. Can't get that nectar out of the stamen. All right,
No.
well.
All right, now we've got the paper.
All right, can you get in there?
Well, no water's coming. I don't think that's
Aw.
gonna work.
Okay, I am a little thirsty. That worked perfectly.
Hummingbirds have long, skinny beaks, like a straw, which contain long tongues. And they use that to lap the nectar up from inside flowers. And did you know they eat the equivalent of 77 times more than we do each day?
Wow.
And that's because they're very active. They fly around so fast.
I can't even see their wings flapping when I look
Mhm.
at them. It's so
You
fast.
have to see it through a slow motion camera.
Well, that couldn't just happen that way. God made them that way.
All right, the next bird is a macaw. They have large curved beaks and they eat things like seeds, fruit, and nuts. And so let's see which of these would work best.
I love pistachios.
I'm going to try this spatula.
I don't think you're going to be able to open it.
Yeah, I
with
can
that.
scoop them up, but they're not open, so I don't think I can use that to eat them.
Okay, let me try these plier-like beaks. Ooh.
Wow,
Let me get that nut. Ow.
that did a very good job.
Okay.
So the macaw's beak works kind of like a nutcracker, and their tongue is specially designed as well and has a bone in the tongue, and that helps the macaw open
Wow.
their food.
That's an amazing fun fact.
And that couldn't just happen.
God made them that way. Well, that's just for kicks. Let's try our tongs. Do you think I can crack them with tongs?
You were very strong. Well,
No, it's just slipping
no.
away. Definitely not the tongs. All right, let's move on.
All right, this is our last one. All right, our last beak bird we're talking about is the flycatcher. And they fly around and catch insects mid-flight. So all those pesky little flies, they can just grab them as they go.
I'm glad they're here to get them out of the air.
Yes, that is another great thing about God's design. All right, first I'm going to try a fork. Tend to fly.
I'm going to throw them at you. Are you ready? Try.
Okay,
No?
I didn't get one.
Okay. Maybe the envelope?
Don't think that works.
Okay. I need the flies. No.
They're just flying off.
All right, let's try the net.
All right. Imagine they're flying through the air. I got some.
Ooh.
See?
Delicious.
So the flycatcher's beak is like this net. And as they fly along, they have their mouths wide open and the bugs are caught in them. Sort of like how we caught the Cheerios in the net. And that couldn't just happen.
God made them that way. I think I'm getting it. Well, the next thing we're going to look at is fantastic feet.
And each kind of bird, just like they were designed with special beaks, they were also designed with special feet. God gave such attention to detail in creating the bird's feet that we know it couldn't just happen. God made them the way they are so they'd be able to do what He wanted them to do.
All right.
All right.
The percher.
Perchers like turtle doves and swallows.
Swallows.
All right, and God created some birds to perch on the branches, which they do very well. He designed their feet with 3 toes in the front and 1 long toe in the back. They have a tendon running through that locks the toes around the branch so they won't fall off when they're sleeping. You know, I never thought of that before. Birds sleep in a tree.
I haven't either.
I roll around a lot when I sleep, so if I slept in a tree, I would probably fall. But God designed these birds so they can put their feet around the branch and they won't fall off.
These couldn't have just happened that way.
God made them that way. God talks about these kinds of birds in the Bible. He says, the flowers have already appeared in the land. The time has arrived for pruning the vines. The voice of the turtle dove has been heard in our land.
Right. The next animal we're going to look at is the climber. Ooh. God created some birds to climb up the trunks of trees. He designed their feet with 2 toes in the front and 2 toes in the back so they can grasp tree trunks and keep steady without falling backwards. That couldn't just happen.
God made them that way.
Here's a picture of our climber.
That
What
looks
is
like
that?
a woodpecker.
I hate woodpeckers. They're loud.
They are loud.
All right.
This fantastic foot belongs to the no-flyer birds like the ostrich. And we're going to read a Bible verse, Job 39:13. The ostrich's wings flap joyously with the pinion and plumage of love. Well, ostriches do have wings, but they don't fly. God created some birds that don't fly, and he gave them 2 or 3 big toes that face forward, make it easy to walk or run quickly over long distances.
How do they get away from the predators?
They can run.
Very fast?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes sense.
Ostriches even have a soft pad under their toes, which keeps them from sinking in the sand. And you know, that couldn't just happen.
God made them that way. All right, the next is one of the yummiest, funnest. The paddler. Quack, 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 quack. God created some birds to be swimming. He designed their feet for paddling in the water and for walking on shore. Their webbed feet didn't just happen that way.
God made them that way.
Quack, quack.
Right, our next bird is a raker, and some of you might even have these birds at your house. Chickens, hens, I know you do.
I do.
All right, we're going to read another Bible verse, Matthew 23:37. And it says, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often I wanted to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chicks under her wings. All right, hens scratch in the dirt and the soil to get their food. And their feet are kind of like rakes that can grab up that dirt and get the bugs inside. And God gave them perfect feet to be able to find their food. And that couldn't just happen.
God made them that way.
All right, some of you boys, this is probably your favorite bird.
Oh, birds of prey. Birds of prey are really good hunters. Their feet have curved claws that allow them to catch prey or animals to eat. For instance, fish and the fish eaters and ospreys have rough feet and long curved talons, which help them hold on to slippery fish. And others, like the harpy eagle, have a huge and powerful claws that can easily crush a monkey
Oh my goodness.
and other tree-dwelling animals.
I don't think of birds eating monkeys. That's really crazy.
And there's even a type of bird that has scales all over its feet. So if it catches a snake and the snake bites its feet, the venom won't go into its feet.
And that could not just happen.
It's amazing. God made them this way to survive in this sin-cursed world.
Mm-hmm.
And we can praise him for that
Yes.
because
It couldn't just happen.
God made them that
Here is our memory verse for today, Psalm 111, 1 through 2. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. Great are the works of the Lord.
Amen.
How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? When the woodpecker pecks, that woodpecker pecks as much wood as it should peck wood. God made the woodpecker on day 5. When he finished, he said, it's good. How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? You'd think that woodpecker's bill would break or get a migraine when it eats. But God designed that woodpecker kind with a spring behind their beak. As they drill in a tree, it amazes me. Those birds don't break their necks. But how much wood does a woodpecker peck when they go peck, 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 peck? How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? When the woodpecker pecks, that woodpecker pecks as much wood as it should peck wood. God made the woodpecker on day 5. When he finished, he said, it's good. How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? That woodpecker sounds just like a drum as he thumps against the tree. He blinks his eyes and the sawdust flies, he'll never miss a beat. God put a cushion in its head so its brains don't turn to mush. Put sticky stuff on its tongue so it can catch those buck, 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 bucks. How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? When the woodpecker pecks, that woodpecker pecks as much wood as it should peck wood. God made the woodpecker on day 5. When he finished, he said, it's good. How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? When the woodpecker pecks, that woodpecker pecks as much wood as it should peck wood.
Hello! Welcome back to my lab here at Incrediworld. It's me, Dr. Mister, and today's experiment is called Co-Design. For this experiment, here are the supplies that you will need. A ruler, some disposable gloves, a bowl of ice water, and a container of vegetable shortening. Smells delicious. Okay, now, do you agree that we have an incredible God? Today, we are going to be talking about the amazing design details that God has given to everything and everyone he created. For instance, how do animals like seals and walruses and dolphins and whales, how do they stay warm in cold water? Well, God, of course, gave them cool design features to keep them warm. Do this. Pinch your skin. Not too hard. Just pinch it a little bit. Now, our skin, it is not nearly as thick as the skin that God gave those animals that live in icy waters. Yes, he gave them a very thick layer of skin or fat, which helps them to stay warm. This special layer of fat is called blubber. Isn't that a fun word to say? Say it with me. Blubber! Yes, blubber. So blubber is a thick layer of fatty tissue that acts as a heat insulator and stores energy. An insulator keeps heat from moving from one place to another place. In the case of these animals, the fatty tissue or blubber keeps the heat from moving inside of their bodies to the outside of their bodies. So that is why they do not feel the cold of the icy water. Also, the blood vessels inside the fatty tissue, well, they are very tiny, very small, and that reduces the amount of blood flow, and it helps reduce the amount of energy that is needed to keep their bodies warm. Isn't God amazing? So, animal blubber, it covers the entire body of these special animals, except for their fins and flippers. Okay? Blubber is one of the main reasons why these animals can stay warm and survive from year to year in the icy temperature. So now we are going to do our experiment to see how this layer of blubber or this layer of fat can be used as a good insulator of heat. Step 1. Put one glove on one hand. You pick whatever hand you want. You may need some help with this. Then you're going to take one finger, and when I say go, put it down into the icy water. Are you ready? On your mark, get set, go. Now, I'm going to put up a 1-minute timer, and you hold your finger in the icy water for 1 minute. Here we go. Ding! Now, remove your finger. And on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being, oh, I hardly felt anything at all, and 10 being, oh, I think my finger is so cold it's going to fall off. How would you rate how cold your finger is right now? You go ahead and just let everybody know on a scale from 1 to 10. Now, we're ready for step 2 of our experiment. Put the glove on your other hand. Now this time, we are going to cover the finger that we are going to put in the water with the vegetable shortening. So I'm going to reach down in there. I'm going to get lots of vegetable shortening and place it all around my finger. I need a little bit more because we want to have a very thick layer of vegetable shortening all around our finger. Make sure you get every bit of your finger covered. That's going to go under the water with that thick layer of vegetable shortening. You can even measure to make sure it's at least 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe up to 1/2 an inch thick. And then we're going to put the timer back up, and you're going to put this finger down into the water. Are you ready? On your mark, get set, go! Ding! Now, on the same scale from 1 to 10, how would you say this finger feels? And how cold did it get? Was it warmer than the finger that did not have the vegetable shortening? That's a very interesting question. Now, let me show you how to take your gloves off so that you don't make a huge mess. Take your finger and thumb and place it under the back of the glove, and we're going to pull the glove inside out and the shortening goes inside the glove, inside out, and we can throw it away in the trash. You can do the same with the other hand. Pinch it and pull the glove inside out and throw it away in the trash, not to make a giant mess all over the house. Good job. Okay, now let me tell you some of the ingredients in the vegetable shortening. It has palm oil and soybean oil. Now those oils are actually fats. Does that sound familiar? Yes, both blubber on those amazing animals God created and the vegetable shortening, both are made of fat. Yes, that is why the finger covered in vegetable shortening did not feel as cold as the finger that did not have it on there. You understand now that God created all of these animals with the special ability to survive in the extreme cold. Isn't God amazing? And when we think of all these animals, let's just remember, it couldn't just have happened. God made them that way.
Reese, that sounds like bird calls. What are you doing?
Well, I just went to the Wings of Wonder bird show. Wow, it was incredible. Have you ever heard of a thermometer bird?
I can't say that I have.
Well, it's a bird that uses its beak to make sure its nest is exactly the right temperature. It sticks its beak right down into the nest, and it can tell if it's even just a teeny bit too hot or too cold. And if it's not just right, it uses its beak to stir up the nest a little bit to get it to the right temperature.
Wow. I mean, that couldn't have just happened. God had to make them that way.
And they showed us how God made birds lightweight so they can fly easily.
Oh, yeah? What did they say?
Well, first, God gave them hollow bones.
Wow, I know we don't have hollow bones. If I tried to fly, I think I would just go splat.
That's right. But that's not all. He also gave them air sacs, which is kind of like having lightweight balloons inside of you.
Wow! Something like this? Woo!
Yeah, and God didn't give them big, heavy teeth, but a lightweight beak. And since birds don't have teeth, they swallow their food whole. It goes down into their stomach where juices break it down into smaller pieces. But it didn't stop there.
You're right, Reese. You know, birds are very active and they need a lot of food because they're burning up all that because of their activity. And so God gave them something special inside of them called a gizzard to help them to be able to digest their food quickly. Many birds will swallow some stones that they use with their gizzard to help this happen. So let's try a little experiment at home right now. Here's what you're gonna need. You need a zippered little baggie. You need some little rocks that maybe you can get outside, or you can even use aquarium gravel or something like that, but just stick them in the bag. And then you need a couple crackers, any kind of crackers, okay? All right, so you stick all that stuff in the bag and zip it closed. And then you're just gonna take your hands and you're gonna rub it, okay? Just for a minute, won't take long. And you're gonna notice, look how fast that crushed up those crackers. It took no time at all. Well, that's kind of how the gizzard works. The birds swallow those stones, and with the gizzard together, they're working, and they just grind it up so fast that it really only takes about 30 minutes to maybe 3 hours for a bird to digest a meal. But if it were a person or a different animal, it could take up to 2 days. So that's pretty cool how God designed them that way to keep them light. Their food goes in quickly, out quickly. God is an amazing creator.
Yeah, and that's not all. Bird feathers are lightweight too, see?
Yeah, they are. Look at this. Woo!
But even though they're light, they're strong. God made them so they work kind of like Velcro, locking together to be light but strong for when they're flying.
That's right. And these things couldn't just happen. God made them that way.
He sure did. Every bird I saw at that show was incredible.
That's for sure. But you know what, Reese?
What?
It's not just birds that are incredible. Every animal is incredible. God has designed each one in special ways. Take the beaver, for instance.
Oh, beavers are so cool.
They are so cool. They're so cool that engineers even study them to try to figure out how they do their building. You see, they can build their house in water, but no water gets in the house. It's so cool. And yet at the same time, it's not airtight because the chemicals that are bad, they can get out that way, but the chemicals that are good, they can still be there. It's really awesome. He even gave beavers see-through eyelids so that when their see-through eyelids are closed, they can still swim around in the water and see. Isn't that cool? I mean, when we swim underwater, we can't do that, can we, Reese?
No way. I don't have any eyelids at all.
No, you don't, poor guy. But anyway, and they also have coverings over their nose and their ears, like flaps, so that they can't get water in them. I think that would be really fun too, right?
That is so incredible.
I know, I get water up my nose when I go swimming, I'll tell you that. So anyway, God thinks of everything when he designs these animals. Each and every animal is specially made.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like our echo phrase for the day.
It sure does. I think it's time to practice. All right, so I'm going to say it first, and then Reese and boys and girls, you do the second part. But let me say it all first. It goes like this. It couldn't just happen. God made them that way. All right, so let me say the first part. It couldn't just happen.
God made them that way.
Right, I love it. Now you say it first, and then I'll do it.
It couldn't just happen.
God made them that way. All right, well, you know how birds like to sing, Reese?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking it'd be fun to try to sing our echo phrase. So I'm going to make something up about the first part, and then you can make something out about the second. And boys and girls, you can make up your own tune as well, okay? So here we go. It couldn't just happen.
God made them that way.
Okay, I think that was enough. Good, okay. I think I said that was enough. Stop. All right, boys and girls, you can make up your own. I think that's good. Okay, bye. Bye.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Craft Corner. Today we're going to be making these bird feeders and they're really easy, really quick, so let's go ahead and start.
Okay, first we are going to start by taking your pipe cleaner and bending the end back maybe a couple of times, just enough so that the Cheerios don't fall off the end.
Okay.
And then you can go ahead and start putting your Cheerios on. Alright, so now you can take this and you can twist it into a shape and create a little hook at the top. And if you want to, you can tie it to the end of your thing and make a little circle, or you can just leave it free hanging like this.
You can make fun shapes with them and do whatever you like.
beauty is everywhere. And would you know it, we've got eyes to see that it's there. It's crazy how a redwood sea holds all the information to become the tallest tree. There had to be a plan, 'cause there's so many moving parts, and a maker who is calling to our hearts. It couldn't just have happened. Don't throw all reason out the door. No reason out the door. Order comes from order, and chaos only causes more. More chaos, only more. It couldn't just have happened. There truly is no chance, unless a great creator set this world into its dance. It couldn't just have happened. God is the answer that you're looking for. We know there's a creator, 'cause the whole world fits together. We know there's a creator, 'cause the whole world fits together. It couldn't just have happened. God is the answer that you're looking for. God is the answer that you're looking for. God is the answer that you're looking for.
Okay, so this one's called Loop de Loop. This one's really great if you have a big space outside like the sidewalk where you can just draw something that looks sort of like a roller coaster. You'll see my little path that I made for my roller coaster, but you could make yours a lot longer if you're outside. And you can just use yourself. You don't have to have any equipment. I happen to be sitting on a little cart. It's kind of like a little skateboard cart, but you could get a scooter, a bike, anything that you've got, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna follow this pathway, either on foot or on your bike or whatever you're using, okay? That's all there is to Loop, and just have fun pretending like you are at Incrediworld Amazement Park.
When God created, He created out of nothing. That's how powerful God is. And ever since God created things, man has been copying God's creation. Did you realize that Orville and Wilbur Wright, the men who are credited with inventing the airplane, actually studied birds when they were trying to figure out how to make a plane that could fly? They studied God's creation, because we know that God's creation is perfect, because God is perfect. He is all-knowing. And so Orville and Wilbur Wright, they studied God's creation. And man continues to study God's creation when we go to making things or inventing things, but we could never create something out of nothing like God did, because God, He created it first, He created it best, because God is perfect. And so, since we're talking about birds and we're talking about flying, a fun thing that you could do as a game today is create some paper airplanes. Of course, you can't create those out of nothing. You need some paper. And so I have always enjoyed making paper airplanes since I was a kid. And there's lots of different styles and designs, but if you don't know kind of a lot about how to make a paper airplane, maybe you could get with somebody like an adult and you can search on the internet for all different kinds of designs. You know, when I was a kid, my cousins and I used to always make fun paper airplanes. And actually, they taught me a really cool airplane that I still like making to today, and it's very, very different. When you put it together, it kind of looks like a crown, but it's actually a round airplane. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen one like this, but I like to make an airplane that looks like that. And once you've made your airplanes, and everybody has your airplanes, you can have a different types of contests. Maybe you want to see whose airplane flies the farthest, or whose airplane is the fastest. You can say, on your mark, get set, and go, and have races. Come up with a couple of different contests that you want to do. Maybe you want to go outside, have a start line and a finish line, and see whose airplane can make it to the finish line in the least amount of throws. There's all kinds of different ways that you can play games with these, but have a lot of fun thinking about how God created it first and God created it best. So this next game is called the Wing Wonder Relay. And we have been learning about all those wonderful, amazing birds that God created and their beaks and their feet. And so we're going to play a relay game that has to do with those birds. And you know what? When I look at animals that God has created, and I realize that this couldn't just have happened, He's made every one of those special details perfect for the way that that animal needs to use it to live and to eat and to do however God designed it. It really strengthens my faith because it makes me realize how awesome God is, how wise God is, how powerful God is, and it just proves to me that God is so real when I look at the creation that He has made. So for this Wing Wonder Relay, what you need is, of course, a starting line and a finish line. And you're going to go into 2 different teams, and you're going to do different ways of being a bird to go between the start line and the finish line. And you can come up with a whole bunch of ideas if you want, but here are a few that I thought of. First of all, I'm going to take a ball and I'm going to put it between my legs, and when I go, I'm going to have to waddle like a penguin. Oh, that's going to be a fun way to do the relay race. So that's one idea that you can have. Another idea that you can have is you could get something like cotton balls, but I have some of these pom-poms here, but it could really be anything small. And maybe you want to make a pattern on the ground with those in each lane, and I've got to run up and touch this with my foot because these are like seeds. And so we're kind of pretending that the bird is coming up and picking up the seeds. So I have to zigzag back and forth and touch all those seeds. Maybe you want to come up with some ideas that don't even need any supplies. Maybe I want to be a hummingbird on this round, so I'm going to flap my wings super duper fast because the hummingbirds flap their wings super duper fast, okay? Or maybe I want to be like an eagle, and I'm going to just take big, slow, powerful ones. Or maybe this next one, I'm going to be a chicken. And so we're going to have to walk like a chicken and move our head all around as we go back and forth from the start line to the finish line. So you can come up with as many ways as you want to do this. You can do as many rounds as you want and make it a relay race and have lots of fun with the Wing Wonder Relay.
Hey kiddos, welcome back to Concession Stand. And today we'll be making ice cream in a bag.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
All right, so how do we make this ice cream in a bag?
Well, we start off with a small bag, and we're going to put 1 cup of half and half, like so. Can you hold this for me, Carson?
Yes, I
That would help
will.
me so much. And then we're going to put 2 tablespoons.
Of sugar.
It's not sugar. This is sugar. Sorry.
2 tablespoons of sugar. There we go. Okay. And then a half a teaspoon of vanilla.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right. And what do we do after that?
We close the bag.
Seal it.
Yes.
And then
close the bag.
Put
Put it to the side.
No.
No. Yes.
And then
While
you're
we
going to shake it in a little bit.
Yes. You can shake it as well.
Just make sure everything's nice and mixed.
And then we put it to the side to work on our next bag.
Okay.
I'll take that.
All right, so in your bigger bag, then you're going to put in 3 cups of ice. We have this huge scoop of ice here, so we're going to put in 3 cups.
1, 2, and 3.
I think we should put more.
I think it'll be good.
And then with our ice, we're going to put in just estimated amount of salt. You can use regular table salt like we have here, or you could use ice cream rock salt, which will also work. So just put a little bit in there. That should be plenty.
No, more. I think you need
More?
some more. Yes.
More.
A little more.
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 More? How much salt do I put in here?
About 1/3 cup
kind of. It
So
really
we
doesn't
got
matter,
put-
but around it.
Now that's
That's
a lot of
salt. Look at that.
Okay.
Good job, Reagan.
And then we're going to take our milk ice cream mixture and put it in the bag.
Oh,
Now
make sure it's
remember,
sealed
ice.
tightly.
And
Yes, make sure it's sealed tightly. And remember, before you start the snack, make sure you wash your hands. Okay. Now that we have
Is it
everything in the
sealed
bag,
very
it is
well?
sealed very
Make sure
well.
it is sealed very well.
So what do
Don't
we
want
do
it-
now?
Then you're gonna
Shake
shake it up until it makes ice cream.
Okay, so I'm gonna have them do that while I read a little something for y'all.
Speak very loud, Reagan.
Okay, so these chili snacks can remind us of our animal pal for the day, Turner the Arctic tern. Arctic terns live in areas that are really cold. They are small birds. One bird weighs the same as 20 U.S. quarters. Yet God has given these birds the amazing ability to fly from Arctic to Antarctica and then return to the same spot where they hatched in the Arctic. Instead of flapping their wings to fly the entire way between the poles, these birds glide much of the way. They're even able to sleep while they glide. Isn't that interesting? They can sleep while they glide. If you'd like to catch them while they migrate, you need to take a trip out onto the ocean. They prefer to fly over water so that they can catch their food from the sea while they migrate. We can praise our amazing creator for his amazing design of this amazing bird. How's the ice cream coming along? Going good!
You want to shake some?
Sure.
So Reagan got it started.
And maybe after the shake, we should test it out and see if it. We'll check it out and see if it turned into ice cream. So I think that would be good. And maybe Reagan can check it out and see if it's ice cream.
And if not, you just keep shaking.
Evelyn?
Oh, let's see.
No, you shake it.
No, we were going to test it.
It's not done yet.
Let's see. So it still looks very soupy. So we're going to put it back in here. Maybe put a little bit more ice in it.
Right.
One more. And shake it
Do
up
we
even
need
more. It's gonna be a lot of shaking and it's gonna be really cold. Very cold.
Okay, if you don't want to get cold, just make sure you wear gloves and that'll keep your hands from getting cold very easily.
This is how you do it. You can always have fun with snacks. Okay, that's good. Oh, I can feel it getting firm. This is good.
Ooh. Really getting there. Very cold too. Whew, my hands are freezing.
As you see, we do not seal it tightly. Remember to do that, kids. Oh, we have a hole.
There's a hole.
There's a hole.
It would probably be best to do this outside. That way you just don't make a huge mess and get water all over your kitchen.
Yes.
So maybe
You can
since
check it out now.
we can, since it's gotten a lot firmer.
Oh,
it ready?
here we go. I mean, it still has a little ways to go.
It
but
still has a long
It's
ways
still
to go.
super soupy.
So let's do it again.
And add some more ice since that one is starting to melt.
Chili. Oh, do we have another bag?
Yeah.
That because ours has a hole in it. All right, thanks to our stage manager, we now have another bag.
So we're gonna put the big bag just in here. And seal it up very tightly.
very.
All right, we're gonna put some more salt.
Definitely. That's a good
We're
idea.
almost out of salt.
Shake it up.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
lot of salt.
It won't close. Make sure it closes. That should be good. There we go. Carson, can you have the honors? Just shake it. Just shake it. It'll go fast. This will take a little while,
You wanna take it?
Sure.
Ooh, it's very cold.
I can
here. I can feel it. It's starting to. It's almost ready.
Almost ready.
Almost ready.
Good job, Reagan.
Thank you,
You're doing
Evelyn.
fabulous. So are you at home.
And back to Evan. My hands are so cold.
I know, they're freezing. Look at them, they're so red.
Oh, that's cold. That's really cold. See, my hands are so red from the coldness.
There we go. I think we can
Are
check
we
it out
almost
now.
ready? Are we,
I think
we're
should
gonna
check it
check
out.
our ice cream.
Oh,
Just
super
don't just take it
salty
out.
on the outside.
Oh, it's getting there.
It's getting there. It's
Still a little
almost
soft,
Just
but
a couple more
This
minutes.
corner
I
is
think-
like perfect right here.
I think just a couple more minutes
Yeah.
should be fine.
I'm gonna mix that part up.
You don't, and don't let it, you gotta keep shaking it so it doesn't get warm. So
Mm-hmm.
don't check it too much. Or you'll never get
Every
there.
time, I'm just gonna add some more ice
Me
because
too.
the ice kind of melted, and then also,
Hey, I do the salt.
some more salt.
Great job, y'all.
Thank you, Evan.
You're welcome.
Close
You got it?
You want to close
I
that for
shall
me?
close it. Oh boy. Okay.
Hands are super salty.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
That's cold.
You want me to do it? You can shake it now.
There's so much ice in here. Almost there.
We're almost there. We're gonna check it again, and it should be ready by now. Let's see. We can open this. Oh, and I think
Oh,
it is
I
ready.
think it's
We
ready.
have-
Oh, wow,
Wait,
that
we don't want it to spill. But yes,
Spoon for Evan.
we shall try
Spoon for
this.
Carson.
Spoon?
Yes, thank you. Oh, it looks nice. It
Oh,
looks
that
nice.
looks
really
really
good.
good. Let's get a spoon.
Cheers.
Mm,
Cheers.
that tastes so good.
That does
really
taste
does.
really good.
Mm.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
At our concession stand, we will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Butch. And I'm Bob. Yeah, we're back. Day 4. We're in the home stretch now. Home stretch. We're getting near an end. And our verse for the day. What was our verse for the day, Bob? Psalm 111, verses 1 and 2. Okay, and Bob and I decided we're gonna tag team this verse for you, and reminding you of what it said. I'm gonna do the first part, and then Bob's gonna come right in behind me. Okay, so here we go. Psalm 11, verses 1 and 2. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. Great are the works of the Lord. Yes, amen. What a good job. Hey, what a team, man. What a team. So what's the bottom line? Bottom line. Got any bottom line thoughts, Bob? Okay, I'll handle the bottom line thoughts today. Gratitude is a vital part of the Christian life. Gratitude, just being thankful. Being thankful. No matter what. You know, in the New Testament, it says to give thanks in all things, in all things. Maybe not for all things, but in all things. Now why? Why? Because, boys and girls, our biggest problem has been taken care of. Right, Bob? Our biggest problem has been taken care of. Bob, you know what that biggest problem is? What is it? Tell the boys and girls.
Sin! Our sin has been paid for by the blood of Jesus.
Oh, Bob, isn't that a great truth? So no matter what happens, I can be thankful ultimately. So when a person becomes a Christian, when God opens our eyes to the greatness of all of his works, we will be thankful. Because his greatest work was what, Bob? His greatest work. See, I saw you dozing off there, so I got you back in. That's what I used to do when I was a teacher. When I'd see somebody dozing off like you did just then, I would always call on them. So remember that tomorrow. Don't doze off, I'm going to call on you. So when we talk about the greatness of God's work, what would you think is the greatest of all of God's work?
Well, I would think Jesus dying on the cross for our sins.
Yes, that's the greatest work. And that will never change. So we can always be thankful for that. Great are the works of the Lord, and I will give thanks to him with my whole heart. So, Bob, will you help me remember to be a thankful person?
I sure will, Pastor Butch.
Will you help these boys and girls to remember that?
Yes, boys and girls. If you're a Christian, one of the first marks or evidences of your new life is that you are consistently thankful. Yes. So, I want you to know I'm thankful for all of you. You look so beautiful out there. With my big old eyes there, I can see every one of you. And you look so beautiful. And so, I just encourage you to always be thankful for what God has done for you in Jesus. Okay?
All right, Bob, you want us to say the verse one more time?
Yes, I really do. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. Great are the works of the Lord.
Amen, Bob. Well, we love you, boys and girls. One more day to go. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing.